Hi, my name is Fred Morris. This is the feedback video for Adam Scott and Patrick Cartwright. Their session was on basketball using the TGFU approach. The things we'll be looking at is their ability to deliver the TGFU approach, their coaching behaviours, and their ability to coach. I apologise for the video, it's actually quality is not very good and the sound isn't great either. I'll be pausing it periodically to talk about a few things and a few points to help their practice. Okay, so we've just paused there to talk about the introduction and the demonstration we've just seen. Okay, so my first point about the introduction is that the introduction has a purpose, and its purpose is to introduce the topic, and in particular, in the case of coaching, introduce the aims. So, what are the aims of your session? And then you can also introduce your objectives and the key learning points, and what you want to work on. Okay, so unfortunately, you didn't do that. What you did inadvertently is just introduce the drill and tell them how to do the drill. Okay, so what you need to say, what you need to do in future is say, for example, say, well, my name is so and so. Today we're going to work on our shooting skills using TGFU approach. The way we're going to do that is play a few series of small games. Okay, and then when you introduce a drill, focus on what you want the outcome of that drill. So it's not the ability to do the drill itself, like it's just what you want them to gain from it. So does it work on their shooting skills, or in case what kind of shot are you going to use? Are you going to use a fadeaway, or are you going to use a jump shot? Are you going to use a layup, etc. Okay, so you need to kind of be a bit more concise with your introduction, and then come to that little demonstration there. Okay, you got a little bit caught between talking it through and demonstrating it. I find usually when I demonstrate is that it's much easier to just talk it through and then let them demonstrate. Then you can just guide them through the drill. It's actually quite a complex drill to start off with. You might want to start with one side running round first of all, and then move it on to two as you did. Okay, so the 2 points there are the introduction, be concise, and state your outcome, what you want from the session, and your demonstrations. Just just be aware that you're not talking and doing it at the same time. You're either talking or you're doing it, or that the participants are doing it. So we've moved forward a bit now, and it's slightly further on into your session. What you've done so far is that you've increased the distance between them and the basket when they pass around. Okay, but it's essentially the same drill. So you kind of manipulated the constraint there. So you've added the extra distance to the shot. So the shot technique has changed. Um, but unfortunately, you haven't highlighted that. Okay, so whereas earlier in the drill, they're able to use layups. Okay, so they're primarily focused on the longer range shooting shots, which pretty much limits them to jump shots or pullbacks. Okay, so when you introduce a constraint, you need to explain what it does, and then you can use that to get them to discuss it and how that constraint will change their approach to solution. Okay, so that's an important factor, but we'll play it through anyway. Okay, I'm just stop it slightly there. The participant on your left there has done a jump shot, but he's slightly off balance. Okay, um, the reason you do jump shots is because generally in a game of basketball, you'll have a defender in front of you, so you need that extra height to get over the defender. Um, because he's leant forward, back his back foot has come off the floor, so that's a key learning point there. Because you should you should have picked up on that and got them together and said, well, when you do a jump shot, this is what you do with your feet. You plant your feet first and you get a good position, okay? And it's important that you keep your feet together so you don't go forward. Um, so that questioning and those little chats you need to be doing are key points of TGFU. Okay, it's not just get them to do a drill and then off they go. You need to get them to do the drill or do the activity, reflect about it, and come up with solutions as well. So they're just a key part of this of the coaching process as well. So you're not so much a coach or a teacher, you're a facilitator. Okay, and both of you seem to be a bit recipient. I know you're both observing, though Patrick seems to be taking an upper hand, and Adam, we don't seem to see much of you. You both need to be aware that to enhance learning, you need to raise your points. Okay, so in the beginning of the drill, you should have said, well, let's focus on this, get your feet in the right position, and then go on. And then you could have brought them back in and had the same conversation. Okay, what were you doing with your feet? Did it work? What didn't work? Etc. Okay, and then you can advise them on best practice. Okay, so you did identify then that she didn't use a jump shot. Okay, but instead of just saying use your legs, right? Um, you could have brought her aside because as there's two of you, one of you could watch the drill and the other one could give one-to-one feedback. Okay, so you need to be a bit more precise than just shouting out use your legs. Okay, so the same participant has come in front of you and done an incorrect jump shot. So that's two opportunities there you've had to pick up on that person. Okay, so you need to be more performance focused rather than outcome focused. That is how do they perform the skill rather than whether they get the basket or not. Both of you are obviously staring at the basket there. You can tell from the direction of your gaze. Okay, so you need to be watching more. You need to be more interested in the skill rather than the outcome. So now we're in the second activity. During this activity, you introduce a defender, which is actually quite interesting because it's part of a TGFU. So you've gone from a simple drill to a slightly more complex drill, and you've also changed the constraints by added a defender, which increases the complexity of the drill. which is quite good. So you've introduced a new game, and however, you've gone around the slightly authoritarian, well, the very authoritarian route, and you said this is a drill, go into it. Okay, so you need to be working on more. Um, you need to be working with them on why they should be doing this drill. Okay, what does an extra defender do? And you can discuss with them. Well, it will make you change your shot. You can do layup. You can do this, that, and the other. Okay, so you need to be more focused on what does that manipulation of that constraint do to your participants. Okay, so will it make them play in a different way? Of course it will. Okay, but you haven't discussed that with your participants, so you need to move away from a coach orientated view and more into your participants orientated view, and they need to understand why they're doing it. Okay, and what will it make them do? Okay, and then they can form tactics, and you can shape those tactics by using questions to guide them in the right direction. This is the final activity of your session. You digress slightly, but as in that you take away the defender. But the real reason for this is a little bit unsure. In TGFU, it is seen as acceptable to digress, as in to reduce the complexity. That's if they don't seem to be able to be good enough, or they just so their like level of ability isn't good enough to play the current game. So you go back to a drill to work on that's certain skill, then you move forward. Um, but it was a little bit unclear why you've gone back a stage, in terms of gone from a dynamic game to back to a more drill orientated game. Okay, so as I've been saying, and the general theme of this is that even though you kind of grasp some of the principles of TGFU, the key point is the understanding. So it is teaching games for understanding, and to that extent, you've got to engage them in conversation and and have some key objectives. Okay, so in this game, you've just got them into two lines, and they're scoring baskets as fast as they can, essentially. Okay, so there's no real learning going on. You're not focusing on technique or anything. So each game needs to have a purpose. So And as I said earlier, it's a little bit confusing why you've digressed a bit. Anyway, that concludes the review. The points I'd give you is that you need to engage them more in questioning and get them to reason, to think about their tactics. Okay, obviously with your introduction, you need to state what are you working on, why are you doing it, and how are you going to do it. Okay, so we're going to work on jump shots using these games, or we're going to work on layups or different kind of tactics using these games. Okay, so that needs to be said really early so they know what they're doing. Okay, when you introduce a drill, you need to explain what you want from that drill, not just how to do it. Okay, so like you've done in this drill, you just let them go. There you go. Put the balls in get the balls into the basket, and when you're done, go to the back of the queue and do it again. Okay, so that really, there's no real learning in that. You're just going through the drills. Okay, so the way you could have made that more informative is by saying, well, let's look at our jump shots because I don't think we're getting them right. Okay, so this is a jump shot. Jump with your feet, get your feet tight together, etc., and talk through their technique. Okay, and give them something to focus on. I thought the second game was very good, but then again, you didn't engage in the understanding part of TGFU. You didn't get them to consider their tactics, etc., and you could have made it quite a good drill. I thought it was quite good. Thank you very much. I hope you like your feedback. Bye.